and welcome back to the second part of all the forces, the causes behind people's disappearance. Alright, so let's continue. In one of the videos that I'm going to leave you a link is about Ida May Curtis. This is a different story. This is not about the electric connection with Earth. This is about animal or creature. Some will call Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever. It's strangely connected to all those places where the anomalies are, where the cluster of missing people are. Those guys are hanging always around those spots. I would dedicate a completely different segment to those guys because this is important who they are. This is going back thousands of years ago. They were something very important. It degraded to this level, but still they have the ability, as they used to have, to a lesser degree they had before. So in those cases when the little children are missing, most of them are found because those creatures are trying to tell us something important, but we are ignoring that. One of the things that is, they already are aware about the changes, and they are trying to keep those young ones close by, so when they find themselves closer to those filaments which can transport them to a different reality, they want those kids to be with them so they can take them with them. Why? To preserve the human DNA so they can bring them back, and voila, you have humans on Earth. This sounds like a sci-fi, unrealistic gibberish, but that's what it is. That's eventually science is going to prove that. In fact, there are people in five-corner office, some of them, because that is multi-layer organization, and within those layers there are also cells, and within those cells there are different departments that are dealing with that. They are aware of this, that Douglas is talking about cave where people went in and 60 years later they came out, or 100 years later come out, or whatever the age was. Those filaments have the same abilities, because those filaments are nothing more than bridges between 2 points, and there are 2 different types. One is horizontal, where you can be transferred. Like sometimes they find missing kids 10 miles away from the place where the kid was missing, and when you draw a straight line to where the kid was found, it's not possible for the kid to walk through that terrain or whatever place that is, and not in the time, because to take 10 miles to get there, it would take a couple of hours, and sometimes they can find that kid within minutes, way up there. So that's one thing. And then there are the vertical. The vertical are when you are bumped up within the same reality but in different time, where you skip the time. Let's say there are many people that were driving somewhere and they lost a week. They found themselves in that filament, in that energy pattern, where either took them back or put them forward. Science is ignoring that because no scientist wants to go close to that subject, because they are afraid they're going to lose the license and people are going to ridicule them, and this is just witchcraft. And what's not? It's not a witchcraft, it's a real scientific, those are principles that are governing this world. We know very little about it. This whole existence that is around us, it's a band of frequencies that constantly interact with each other, and they have bridges. Those frequencies, they constantly cross with each other, and everything's in front of us. We just need to open the eyes and see that, but not many people are trying to, they just don't want to. There is another case where David is talking about a gentleman. He's reading a letter from someone that is describing what happened during one of the guys was transferring lumber to someone's property, and he had to ask permission to go through that, and he did get the permission. He delivered everything, and then on the way out he had tea at that property, and when he was trying to get out from the property, things got weird. In other words, when he was trying to get to the gate, it was already getting darker. The gate appears to be not in the spot where he was supposed to get out. So he maneuvered the truck to go to that gate there, and when he positioned himself to go into that gate, the gate disappeared and appeared on the other end. He did that a few times. He got very confused, and finally I think he asked the owner of the property to hold a torch where the gate is so he can just go through. And then they exchange the experience and so on, and it turns out that this didn't happen for the first time. Here is a clear cut of a bridge which is horizontal, and each time you go to that spot is over there. There is a connection between those two spots due to electric or electromagnetic distortion underground or from the above, because it can happen either way. Something again that I don't think any scientist will go even close to that. But to determine that, the only thing you need to see if that's correct, to have a just EMF, just to go and check the electromagnetic frequency there. You will see how much differs from the regular environment. When you go to the hotspot, the reading is going to increase. No one even tried to do that, which puzzles me. There are people that are researching the ghost huntings and what's not. They have all this equipment. It can be used over there as well. There are people researching, amateurs, which are researching the crop circles. Same equipment. They can use that in researching that, going to the mountains or going hiking or what's not, because they will have the same readings. They will acknowledge that there are hotspots where they should be avoided. It's not a science or rocket science. It's just common sense. However, we don't have people which do have it. In Europe, this thing is moving much more faster forward, and there are breakthroughs in the research of crop circles and other stuff that already acknowledge that there is something that we don't understand yet, but the principles are there. There is a very simple method of counter this, because the stuff is not just happening from yesterday or a year ago or 50 years ago. Those disappearances are happening for the past thousands of years. They were always happening because of in fact, many thousands of years ago, that was more frequent than is right now. There were people appearing from somewhere and disappearing, appearing and disappearing, because the Earth was much more energetic. The solar system was much more energetic. The galaxy was much more energetic. So the flow of energies was much more intense than is right now. We are declining. The energy is constantly decreasing until that's it. There is a method to counter this. One of those things were, you remember those towers with the bell on it? Yeah. The sound of the bell, it's producing a wave. That wave within the plasma field rearrange the filaments and sometimes disconnect them. Also, it gives you awareness. When you hear the bell, usually it's in the evening, then you start walking towards that sound. You are much more on alert, and it's less possible that you are going to stumble into the field and the neurons are going to reconnect in different patterns and you will not know who you are. Another thing was that travelers had with them, you will see that in many stories, they had with them a whistle or flute. Those are the two things that they always carry with them. In the evening, either they play a note or simply whistle. That was giving the wave of that sound. It's changing the pattern of the connection of those filaments. They knew that. And this is something that it's so simple, but yet not recognized, because science is money-driven and no one is going to look into something that was just a myth, story, so you cannot make money out of it, but it works. What needs to be done is to conduct experiments and see if that's already what I am saying is actually happening. It's simple. I am sure that there is someone who has the resources, the ability, the lab that can do that on smaller scale. It doesn't have to be on giant connections, but on a smaller scale, and see. We have equipment that can see already different spectrum. We can see energies that we didn't see before, but right now we can use all kinds of, like Kirlian photography, we can use X-ray vision, we can use infrared, ultraviolet, and all kinds of different spectrums, and we can notice those connections and then play with those sounds and see what happened. And we can develop something that can be very useful not only for people going hiking and mountain climbing to avoid all this stuff, but also can help the rescuers, because they are also in danger. So it's better to have focus on preventive methods over constantly pointing finger or talking about stuff like there are aliens behind it, or the government is doing some experiments, or the Bigfoot is doing something creepy. We need to stop that. It's time to just look on the scientific evidence that is there, and it's always. When the weather change, that means there is electrical forcing, or all the electrical forces are at work. When sudden weather change, when there is, for no reasons, snow showing, or rain showing, or wind showing, that's electrical. When we have, and all those things are happening not far from the volcanoes, or some kind of geomagnetic underground structures. Those are scientific facts, but no one is looking into that because, no money there. Other thing is, those disappearances are happening usually in the evening, after sunset. There is a reason for that, because once the solar wind is blowing across the earth or past the earth, it does the turbulence, and then the magnetic field in those areas is decompressed, and there is interaction with other realities, and there are because of the decompressions, you can see that, you can watch that on special observers. That swirling, it's causing the Birkeland currents going to the ground, all the way down to the bottom, all the way to Earth, and decompress the magnetic field. And then that's when the hauntings ghosts, disappearances. Now the age of those young people disappearing. David is he's trying to say something. Look, he's young, he's 25, 27, 25, 27. Yes, they are young people, but they are after short period of time after puberty. Before puberty, the energy starts rising to adjust all your chakras. And right after the puberty, when you are 25, you are fully developed adult. But still the energy is growing up. And when you, between 25 and 35, your electrical charge in your body is the highest from during the whole life. This is the most, you are the most electrically charged at that age. And you are very receptive to all electrical changes, electromagnetic changes. Therefore, that's the reason why the people are disappearing. There is no kidnapping by the government for labor or body parts or aliens stealing people for labor camps or something like that. You need to leave that away because that's just garbage. Same thing, the Bigfoot. The Bigfoot is only interacting with people that are afraid of him. When you exude fear, he's going to scare you and he's going to do stuff to you, may even hurt you. But if you are a strong person that is not trying to pick a fight with this, there is going to be exchange of energies, or the mental fight is going to be there, but once they see that you are not a threat to them, they will leave alone. And frequently they will just vanish into thin air. You won't even see what will happen to them. That's another topic for another video. If it comes to children, as I already explained, that they are the seeds of the future. Therefore, the gatekeepers, which the Sasquatch used to be thousands of years ago, now it's everything in decline. They were trying to preserve and transfer selected group of young seeds for future generations. Whatever is being said by the science that this many people survived after the Ice Age, or that many females were survived, that's all garbage, complete nonsense. But they are scientists. They have more than 36 degrees. So, all right. Before I tell you about another case, I want to say something. David, if you are watching, I would not do anything different than you are doing. You are doing a perfect job. I am a big fan of your work. The reason I am saying it is this is the best work that I came across, because you are not trying to explain them. You are just providing as many details in your books, in your the video that is on Prime, Amazon. It has a lot of details that people can go dig in it and find answers on their own. Not all the cases are the same, not all the cases fall into the same category, not all the cases can be explained. Majority, yes, they can be explained. Some of them are for various reasons. Some people don't want to be found, some people were kidnapped, some, there is a variety of reasons why people are getting missing. But I'm trying to take the opportunity that if for some reason you are watching that, I want to say thank you for the work you are doing. People need that. Some truth that I am saying here may not be, it might be actually painful to hear that, especially if the parent is watching. In particular about the parents missing, there is a lot of tension if it comes to that case. Unfortunately, when I try to contact using my ability, I received message, he is not available. This does not mean that he is dead, it's simply there is no way of communicating with him. Okay, so now I'm going to go through one more case and the elements associated with that case. The case that I am going to talk about right now, it's about older couple I don't know which park they were camping. They vanished, and as soon as the rescuers came to the place where from the spot where they vanished, they found a car parked not far from the tent and where they had some kind of fire pit going, and no trace of the couple. What was found on the spot where they were, there was a bushfire next to the car, but the car was not on fire. That was very puzzling to those that found this, because they were trying to determine how that fire started there. And all experts agree that the way the fire was burning is almost like the fire started from the inside of the plants. Like there was no evidence of deliberately setting up the stuff on fire. No one could understand that. And I am going to explain this because this is one of the most important cases that is indicating what forces are involved in this. And I'm hoping that someone who understands electrical engineering and someone who understands plasma cosmology, someone who understands plasma discharges, someone who understands this whole aspect of electricity in the nature, someone who heard before about self-combustion and understand that is going to look at the case from a different perspective and will develop some kind of experiment proving or disproving what I am about to say is either correct or incorrect. Okay, so let's go, and I'm going to bring all the elements through slides, and I'm going to walk you through one by one.
It's not lightning that caused this fire that you see here. To better understand what I just said, we need to look at other elements similar to the burning tree that is happening to human in self-combustion. You can look at videos that are available on YouTube, or you can just simply research on articles. However, what Wikipedia is saying is not really correct. They are blaming carbon for that, but that's not the case. The one culprit that is causing the fire in plants and humans in self-combustion is water. You see, when you expose water, H2O, to electric flow in specific cases, in specific way, and it turns into HHO, and that extra hydrogen starts fire. That fire apparently is a cold fire, so people in self-combustion don't really feel much pain. They just burn to the ground completely. This is something that not many people understand. There are many patents already with that associated. However, the last patent that I was aware, the gentleman that designed this cold fire, apparently someone is saying that's the word on the street that he is missing, but I don't have any evidence of that happening, since trees and plants and humans, most of us are made of water. When we are exposed to electric flow of specific voltage, I don't know what that is, and electromagnetic field, that's when H2O is turning to HHO, and it's very easy to ignite that one extra hydrogen, and in all those cases that's what is happening. In case of that older couple, it is the self-combustion of the plants which started in wider area than normal, because that filament has dimension, and that's why there was no single point where the fire started. Now, it didn't start at the car, because the car is insulated by the tires. The tires are insulating the car from the ground. Therefore, the bushes only where the filament was anchored, that's where the fire started. Simply they self-combust. In some cases, opening to the bridge through which people are disappearing looks like that. the entrance is going to lit up a little bit. The plasma is going to do that little light display. I took this image from the YouTube channel Slaptham. He has a lot of very interesting, unusual videos, and this is a fact that this plasma looks to the bridge like that. In their case, fire started next to the car, and most likely they were very surprised by what happened. They wanted to examine what is happening. They went closer and they found themselves in that intense electromagnetic field, and the rest is history. Simply they crossed with the bridge somewhere, and who knows what happened to them.
As you can see from what I presented to you, you can explore that further. You have at least points where you can go and look into either the HHO technology, you can look into the self-combustion and study that, because this is something really puzzling to me as well. I remember when I first received the message about the, especially self-combustion, it was water, and for like 20 years I couldn't understand what this is all about, and now that I stumbled on some stuff on the internet, when it was explained to me that H2O can actually be at some point HHO using electricity, then I connected both those things immediately. It was like a poof, light went off, and okay, this is it. That's the confirmation for me that when they were presenting to me, it is a water that is causing the self-combustion in humans. That's when I realized that it must be that must be it. In closing this video, I want you to share this video with as many people as you can, because I want to reach someone in this field that watching this will do something about it. Okay? When you were watching this small segment about the fire burning from the inside, the same thing. It wasn't the lightning. There were no lightning. Lightning, when it hits the tree, usually it splits in half or breaks the tree. The force, this is really a lot of force coming from lightning. So those trees in California, and there were in many places where military were showing up right away. It was indicating that they already knew that the fires are going to start. That's why we have satellites. The satellites have special sensors. They know the distortions that just don't tell anybody. They know, believe me. That's why the military units in some places were showing up. You understand? So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you didn't yet. Please share this video. Please like this video. My next video, I am bringing heavy guns. I mean really heavy guns, stuff that is surprising and shocking. And the last video is from this series is going to be my personal experience, and I will summarize all the elements that are involved in this. Okay, so thank you and have a pleasant day.